Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Intelligent Moron with Alex Silva. I'm back again, another week, another episode. This week, a couple days ago actually, I saw something on TV, infomercial actually, of something that I truly didn't know existed. I'll be completely honest. It was for a shoe that you only have to tie one time, and that's it. Yeah, sound a little too, I wouldn't say good to be true, because truly I don't think that, anybody should be buying a shoe like this, because the reason why it was made and advertised really pissed me off. And I think that's somebody would actually buy this shoe because they simply don't want to tie their shoes anymore. And they think that it's a hassle and something that they can avoid is not a good enough excuse to make this shoe. Now, I was at the gym when I saw this, right? I was on the treadmill. The TVs, sometimes they got like regular, like daytime TV. I've said this before in the past. And, when it's daytime TV in the middle of the week and nobody's watching TV, they're going to run some stupid infomercials. And this one was for the one-time tying shoe. And it was advertised as you tie it one time, and then after that, you just slip it on after that. And it just kind of stays secured, We already have those type of shoes. I don't know if you guys have ever seen like dress shoes or loafers or Vans that don't have laces, but those shoes don't need to be tied. They're slip-ons that, snug on, that like have like some like elastic thing or elastic mechanism that makes it so it's snug on your foot, so you don't have to tie it. But this one is a really stupid shoe that has laces and with an elastic, material to make it snug on your foot when you slip on your shoe. I don't know what company, well, I know the company, but I'm not going to say it because there's no free ads. I was actually appalled and did not think that this was a real thing. But it is a real thing because it's on TV. And I know that it has to be real because that means that the company had to pay for an advertisement on TV. So the company is doing decent, right? It can afford a commercial, an infomercial, not like a 20-minute one, but like a 2-minute one, right? Like a regular infomercial, like length commercial, right? So this shoe company exists. It's not real. Or it's not fake, sorry. It's not like when you get in your email or your spam, like, oh, try this out. It's a full-blown, like, with like a actor in it to try on the shoe and see how it works. And I just could not believe that somebody would actually make a shoe that looks like a regular shoe with laces that you only have to tie once, and after that you just slip it on. Are people really that bored? Are people really, is the shoe game really, the shoe business, that thirsty for other ideas that could get people to buy these shoes? Because I think that there is a market for different, types of shoes. There is a market. There's a market for different types of shoe styles, right? Different types of shoe brands, looks, appeals, and this one is tricking you. to make it look like, oh, it's a regular shoe, but you only gotta tie it once. Like, no, it's not. It's the same as Vans, same as loafers, dress shoes. It's just they got laces on them. I just was so like, I taken aback by the advertising, and the push for it was like, never tie your shoes again. Never make it a hassle to tie your shoes, to bend down to tie your shoes ever again. It'll never be a problem ever again. I heard that and I saw that and I was like, what a weird angle to actually advertise the shoe. Like, tired of the hassle of tying your shoe? Well, this shoe doesn't have to be tied ever again once you tie it one time. The far reach, like they're grasping at straws just to get some people to buy this shoe. And it was so much, like, I know, like, because of like the tagline, the slogan, somebody's gonna buy it. Now, I've never bought anything from an infomercial ever. I always wanted to, just to see like how good the product was, because the commercials seem kind of like, you know, that whatever it is works, and it looks decent, you know, and they spend time showing you how to do, you know, things with it. When I was a kid, one of the biggest, you know, advertisement like commercials, infomercials, when I was a really young kid, I remember, because I was watching like Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon, was Chia Pet. Chia Pet was like the plant that grew from the orange like clay. Like, it would be like a clay statue of like Scooby-Doo, and on his head would be like the little seeds of the plants, and you water the clay, you know, Scooby-Doo, and he would get like green shrubbery on his head. And it was like a plant. So you can kind of like have like a fun little plant that you would take care of as a kid and water it and watch it grow. I always thought that those ones were like, were the ones that was like kind of like, you know, aimed at me. And I was like, that would be kind of cool. I never ended up buying a Chia Pet, but I always, you know, for a while when I was a kid, I was like, that would be kind of cool to have. One that I didn't buy, my brother bought, was ShamWow. Now, ShamWow, if you don't know, was like this magical, super absorbent cloth that, you know, looked like a towel, looked like some kind of cloth, but it was like the most absorbent thing that humanity had ever made in that moment. And it was like, you know, it could hold so much like liquid and water if you had like a big giant spill. It would show like someone demonstrating how much paper towels suck and how much ShamWow was good and would come in to save the day from all these day-to-day, you know, everyday spills. We actually bought one. Not from the infomercial, though, but from, like, the store, because that was when, like, I think stores were, like, starting to, like, sell that stuff as well. I remember we had the ShamWow, and it worked pretty decently. I don't remember it being, like, you know, revolutionary, but it was, you know, kind of cool to have a product that you would see on TV. That was always kind of cool, right? But I've always kind of wanted to, you know, buy like a knife set that was a infomercial, because the ones that they show on TV sometimes look like, you know, badass. Like, they have a lot of different knives. They all look sharp as hell. They're good quality, and they would say, call 1-800 whatever, and you can get payments of like $2 a month. And you're like, whoa. Like, it would be an expensive thing. And if you call right now, you can get payments for super cheap. And I'm like, well, I mean, I don't really need knives, but like these knives that they're showing me right now, they look pretty cool. I might have to, you know, think about that. I never did, though. But, you know, growing up, you know, you kind of see infomercials here and there, and you're just like, well, are any of these even good? Are any of these good? In my experience, ShamWow, even though I didn't get it from the infomercial number, I bought it in a store. It was decent, but not like something that would like change your life, right? And then I remember, I think it was Flex Seal. That's actually one that I really, really want to try and like put to the test. Flex Seal, if you don't know, is like that spray that you spray it on like a hole in like let's say like you have like a Tupperware that you're trying to put stuff in, but there's like a crack in it, or like a bucket. You want to fill up a bucket with water, but the bucket has a crack in it. You're probably like just like sick and tired of using duct tape, or don't want to go buy another bucket, and you just order Flex Seal. And then you're like, oh, look, it's this super adhesive spray that once you spray it on, it seals everything up. And then you're just like, that would be something that would be wild to have. Have you ever seen Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs? There is a bit in this movie where he's making spray-on shoes, that he just sprays this liquid on his feet and he has shoes. Like that Flex Seal, I mean, you could probably do that with Flex Seal. That would not, I don't advise this at all. I do not advise that you spray Flex Seal on your feet or any part of your body. I do not advise that. But it would be very interesting to see, like, if you can get like a fake foot, or like if you got like a mannequin, right? Like a mannequin like at the mall, got their feet and sprayed it with Flex Seal. Would it actually, like, if you sprayed enough, would you be able to create like a solid shoe around the person's foot? Like I said, don't do this to your feet. Do not do it to human feet or any other alive foot. But if you were to do it to like a mannequin's foot, like if you were to spray it enough, would you actually be able to create a physical, like actual, like shoe on the foot? That would be wild. I don't know if you can though. The more I see a Flex Seal, the more I feel like it's just like you would have to spray like a lot of it to even like make it like that solid. Even though like you see the guy who's advertising it, right? He will use Flex Seal on his boat. His boat's got a crack, and he'll just straight up use Flex Seal and then push it into the river and go fishing. So apparently, I've never used it before, but apparently Flex Seal like is really good. But that that was like always like the like commercials, the infomercials that would always like get me to be like, that could work. I don't have anything with a crack in it that I'm using or I need at the moment, but I could break something and then try it out. But then if it didn't work, I would have broken something that I would need to get another one if it doesn't work. But sometimes, I feel like the infomercials, besides trying to sell you what they're trying to sell you, get you to think like, well, what else could this do? Or what else could I do with this? Like, could I repair a house with Flex Seal? Could I repair my car with Flex Seal? You always just kind of think of like, what else could you do more with that product than what it's designed for? Because those products that they have on infomercials, man, they always seem like you can't get them anywhere else, that you need to get this one. Even though if you go to a store, they'll have like an identical product that does like the same exact thing, but it's just not as advertised as Flex Seal would be. And by the way, since I'm already throwing out, names of products, I might as well just tell you what the shoe was. It was called Zeba shoe, Zeba shoe, the shoe that you don't have to tie, or you only have to tie one time, and then after that, you don't have to tie it again. I just could not really fathom, like, their pitch was, are you tired of tying your shoe? Is it a hassle? Really? In a day and age where you are going to call tying your shoe a hassle and a predicament that is time consuming. Sure it is, whatever, but it isn't that bad. I mean, anybody can tie their shoe, right? I get if you're maybe older and it's a little tougher for you to bend over and tie your shoe, but for the most part, like, how many people are actually going to buy the Zeba shoe and be like, look at this, look at my shoes, I don't got to tie them ever, they just slip on? Like, besides, like, when you have to slip on your shoes, you're kind of bending over and in the same way, sort of, right? To like get your foot fully in the shoe. I don't know. I saw that. I couldn't believe the angle, the pitch and the angle, like for what they were trying to sell you or how they were trying to sell you on this this miracle one-time tying shoe. It just really didn't make any sense to me. And of all places too, right? The gym to have that type of infomercial. Now, of course, it's just like a regular basic channel, right? A basic channel like network or local TV, right? That it just kind of appeared, right? It just is, it's wild that was actually thought up and the angle that they took for that one. And like, is anybody even going to buy that? Like this company, Zeba, who makes that shoe, I don't think that they are like looking to be like, well, this is it. This is our one commercial in this one time slot. If this fails and we get 0 sales from this, the company is done. It's over. I wonder if like any of like those ideas ever like go to Shark Tank. Have you ever seen Shark Tank? It's like when these millionaire business guys are like judging people, like regular Joe Schmo's ideas and seeing if they can make it into like a big flourishing business and if they would invest in that product, whatever it is. I'm pretty sure there's got to be like a lot of like things that like the people on Shark Tank see and actually make it big. Like products that like are shown off on did I say Shark Week? Shark Tank. That are shown on Shark Tank and actually make it big. I actually want to see successful Shark Tank products. So I'm gonna see like what are the top successful Shark Tank products. I want to see. Now this is from is there anything on here? Is this even, I don't even know if any of these articles are real, to be honest with you, man. This is what I hate really truly about the internet. It's all just like advertisements. You can't even like just search information no more. You just get stuck with ads. Let's see. Yeah, I don't even know if these are real. Never mind. I would have to do research, but this show is not about research, so checkmate. Shark Week. Sorry. But I'm sure there's got to be like something that comes out of that show that is actually successful. There has to be something, right? I would bet like at least like a couple things a season are like super successful. Like you might use them today. I think even like on some like infomercials, like one of the things that they like advertise or push in that ad is like this was on Shark Tank and is now successful. So I'm pretty sure that there's got to be some. I mean, in order for that show to like continue to flourish, right? There has to be like, some people actually, noticing that these things are on Shark Tank and that they're becoming actual products that you can actually buy, right? I wouldn't see how the show could afford to have like Mark Cuban and all those billionaires there to do a show to see what kind of products are going to be that they want to invest in, right? There's got to be some like success rate that is enough for it to, keep that show alive. Unless people just watch it just to watch it and not gain any like knowledge from it. Like, oh, this guy made this and how it's being mass produced. Maybe I should check it out because it was on my show, Shark Tank. I don't know. Again, I've never really seen it. I've only seen like clips. And even then, I don't even remember what I saw. I just kind of like remember like Mark Cuban saying he's in or he's not. And that's really it. Like there's nothing else that I even really pay attention to, I think there's like maybe 2 or 3 more other judges. And I say judges with air quotes, like 2 other billionaires that are watching that as well, or on that as well, that like judge the product, and they kind of like, put the, see like who's going to invest and who's not going to invest. I guess if you can get somebody to invest in it, then I guess you win and your product gets made, or at least mass produced, and then you kind of win. But then again, it's not really like much of a competition, besides that. There's not like rounds, I think, that they go through, to make it to that. It's not like American Idol where you have to sing and beat another person to become the best singer, right? I don't know. I don't watch local TV. I don't watch reality TV. I don't watch talent shows, game shows. I don't watch any of that stuff, really. But you know what I do watch, though? I do watch Hard Knocks. Now, you probably heard me talking about Hard Knocks a couple weeks ago. That was the off season for the New York Giants. Well, there's a new season out that's premiering now. The preseason with the Chicago Bears. That is now airing on HBO. And I've seen the first episode already. And you guys know I like Hard Knocks a lot. I love, like I already said, I'm in football mode. Like, I'm ready for the season to begin right now. If I were to, fast forward in time where it's week 1 on a Sunday and I'm sitting on my couch watching NFL Red Zone for like 7 full hours, I would do that in a heartbeat. I would snap my fingers and teleport me to that and then just sit there immersed in football. But honestly, if I'm really thinking about it, I would lose so much of the football season. So much of what makes the football season so special, honestly, is the build up to the actual season, and is training camp. It's preseason games. It's seeing the players that you're excited to see play for the first time, whether they be with a new team, they're rookies, undrafted free agents, like I said, trades and new signings, and just like fresh new faces. It's exciting. It's an exciting part of the football season. This is the preseason and gearing up for it. And the stories that come out at training camp of, maybe one team thought that this guy was going to be the quarterback and turns out it's going to be a different guy. Things like that are so key and important to the season that you really can't have a good season without a good preseason, right? And I think every like NFL roster, team, coach, owner, GM, any executive would say like they would probably say a good recipe for a good season is a good preseason, right? And finding out and but figuring out all the kinks and what makes the team better, and cutting the roster down to the 53 men that will be on the field on Sunday, right? And this year, Hard Knocks, it's interesting because they always try to find like the most like either interesting team, or the team with like the most stories behind it, or the team with a specific narrative. Last year it was the New York Jets. They had signed Aaron Rodgers in the offseason. That was a big story point. That was like, what's going to happen with him? What's going to happen with Zach Wilson? What's going to happen with all these guys that were, that they got to help out Aaron Rodgers? That was a good season. That was a season of Hard Knocks that was like, well, you got everything. You got Aaron Rodgers. You got Zach Wilson, Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, all these different personalities, all these different key players that are on the Jets. Them telling a story like, well, these guys are all like really good players, can they even be a good team though? You know? And, unfortunately for Aaron Rodgers, he tore his Achilles the first, game of the season. I think he played like maybe four plays, and then that was it. Boom, over. So they try to find like the teams with like the most storylines and most new things that are happening. In this case, being the Chicago Bears, the big draw for this season, I think, in my opinion, is the signing of the rookie quarterback Caleb Williams, who, I think he's a really good quarterback. I think he's really, really good. I do think that he's not like a once in a generation quarterback. I do think that he's a little soft. He cries quite a bit. But that could all change. That could all change as soon as he steps foot and starts playing NFL football. And I think that, it could. But from what I'm seeing in Hard Knocks, they are showing like the real true, I think, in this iteration of Hard Knocks, in the first maybe first half of the episode was showing like the growing pains that Caleb Williams is having, adjusting to playing quarterback in the NFL. And it's interesting because this might be like the first Hard Knocks in maybe last 4 or 5 years where they follow a number 1 drafted rookie quarterback. Because I'm trying to think, last year's was the Jets, the year before that was the Lions. I think before that might have been, who was it? It wasn't like anybody with like a rookie quarterback, I think. There was one point where it was the Rams and the Chargers. I think that one actually might have had, rookie Justin Herbert as, they were he was showcased as like the rookie quarterback. But in terms of like a number 1 drafted rookie quarterback, it's been a very, very long time, if they've ever done it at all. So they added that little wrinkle to the story in this Hard Knocks. And, it starts out as he's struggling with the playbook. He's struggling finding receivers. He's struggling with some fundamentals, right? The coach, Matt Eberflus, is coaching him up. He brings in Nick Saban, college football legendary coach, to give him some advice to see how he can develop Caleb into a good quarterback. And, emphasizing on development. He's not going to be the greatest of all time the first game of his career. It's going to take time, which I enjoy seeing that and hearing that, because when you watch NFL football every single year and you see how the rookie quarterbacks do in their first year, they're either like CJ Stroud or Bryce Young. CJ Stroud had an incredible rookie season with the Texans, while as Bryce Young had a season where he looked miserable, alone, not supported, scared, timid, terrified, just terrible and bad out there. And I think that there's so much out there, and we as viewers, we as fans of the NFL have seen it all, from the highs and lows of rookie quarterbacks. But we can all really just, we can all agree on one thing. The development of these quarterbacks is detrimental to their success in the NFL. I am legitimately worried that Bryce Young might be ruined. Might be confidence just gone, nothing there. The league might have killed him. It might have eaten him up and chewed him out and spit him out. Possibly. And I think that in this approach, when we see Like these scenes in Hard Knocks where Nick Saban is with Matt Eberflus, telling him like development is so important. It's got to happen. He's got to be able to learn, adapt to the game. The expectations are there. He wishes that they weren't there because that just kind of eats at the brain of the quarterback and really just like kind of messes them up in that way. And seeing how he was talking about that was just like so reassuring that, yeah, I mean, like, educating the fans too. Like there's like probably like a very slim chance that he's going to have that much success in his first year in the NFL. Like it's just like so like the expectations are so high. Like I don't know if anybody could even reach like the highest expectations. Maybe CJ Stroud might be the last one that we've seen that actually came, or actually he blew away expectations. Nobody was expecting that from CJ Stroud. Everybody's expecting greatness from Caleb Williams, So I enjoyed that. I enjoyed seeing how, he was struggling in the beginning of the first half of the episode. In the second half, he was understanding it more. He was building more of a connection with his players, with his linemen, his receivers. You really saw like progression, I thought, in the first episode of Hard Knocks, which, they have to do that, right? They're creating a story. They're creating drama, tension, which is all true because it's documented, but they're kind of giving you like story beats and story arcs, in a way like it kind of resembles like a TV show, a scripted television, where this is not really scripted. It's just filming and edited in a way where you can see the progression of the people that they're covering in this series, which I think is actually being done pretty well, if I'm being honest. Again, it was just the first episode, but so far, I'm very intrigued in what they're gonna, how they're gonna continue this, for the rest of the preseason. Because I was actually, and this is not just like shock because of it's because of the it being the preseason itself, right? But in the show, right, they end the first like episode where they play the Hall of Fame game between the Bears and the Texans, and usually the Hall of Fame game is, like not even really a preseason game, but it is a game that people don't really care about. I do, because it is football, and that you would probably, that's a game. Preseason is like where you don't really play your starters, right? You gradually put them in more in preseason. Some of them don't even touch the field in preseason because they're already, professionals are already so good. But I would have at least thought that, because I know he's number one pick, and he's like, you paid him $25 million and you expect him to be a star. But how come you don't play like Caleb Williams in the preseason games? Like, he is a rookie. He's number one. He, of all people, like, he needs to be playing these games, and he doesn't even touch the field once. Like, I am super intrigued and ready to see how this dude plays in the NFL, because he was so good in college playing football, playing quarterback. I just want to see how he adapts to the NFL speed of the game. Like right now, like I don't understand like how he's getting the treatment that he's getting where he's not playing in the Hall of Fame game. I truly don't understand that. He's a rookie. I get he's number one. He's going to be your starter, right? You've already committed to that. But he still needs to see the field, right? He still needs the reps to get better. I just don't get why he didn't do that. I understand why Aaron Rodgers wouldn't get those reps, right? Or Tom Brady back in the day wouldn't get those reps. But Caleb Williams, I mean, these guys need the reps, right? And I just think that that's kind of strange to go, well, he's our number one pick. He's the guy. No reps yet. Really? Okay. I mean, I there must be something that I just don't get in the NFL hierarchy, in the NFL, like, class system of who gets to play preseason, who doesn't. I mean, Tyson Bagent was getting snaps in that game, and he's already been in the league. He's already started games for the Chicago Bears last year. I think there was another guy named another rookie quarterback that was undrafted, Brett Reed, I think. I think his name was Brett Reed. No, that was Brett Rippon. But he was in the league as well last year, and he was playing in that game. Something Reed, I can't remember his first name, but he was an undrafted free agent, and he was getting snaps as well. Everybody but Caleb. Strange. I didn't understand that. Maybe it's because they're playing it off for a big reveal, a big debut of Caleb Williams. They did not want to do it in the Hall of Fame game, or maybe it was for TV purposes. They wanted to build it up, in order to get people to watch Hard Knocks more. But I think that if you're a rookie quarterback, I don't care if you're number one or Mr. Irrelevant. In my opinion, you should be getting those reps, even in the Hall of Fame game, like everybody else did, including guys who are not rookies, getting reps. Staying on TV a little bit, I just kind of want to react a little bit to the news / the reaction to the ending of House of the Dragon. Now, let me be perfectly clear. I didn't see a single episode of Season 2 of House of the Dragon. Now, why are you talking about it then? Well, because I was actually really intrigued by the reception of the finale that occurred on Sunday. Apparently, a lot of people did not like it. They did not like the finale to Season 2 of House of the Dragon. And listen, I haven't seen a single second, a single shot, a single frame of Season 2. But I hear that, and I'm like, well, this ain't good. This is not what I was hoping. Now, again, that's my fault. I haven't seen a single second of the show. So it is my fault. And me essentially being spoiled on the quality, not what happens, but the quality of the finale of Season 2 is my fault. I take responsibility for that. But that's still just not something I want to hear. Now I'm not going to go on Twitter. Sorry. Now I'm not going to go on X and be like, oh, I heard this show was bad. I guess, I did the good thing and not even give it a shot. Now, I'm not going to be some negative bitch like that and just be like, oh, yeah, I told you it wasn't going to be good. I'm not going to do that. I still plan to watch House of the Dragon Season 2. I just don't know when. If I'm being completely honest, I don't know when I will actually watch it. But it just seems like, the past 3 seasons of Game of Thrones, the Game of Thrones universe. I'm saying the past 3 seasons because I'm going to count Season 8 of Game of Thrones, Season 1 of House of the Dragon, and Season 2 of House of the Dragon. It seems like one of those 3 previous seasons of the Game of Thrones world have had a good finale and 2 have not. This is not looking good in terms of recency wins when it comes to the Game of Thrones universe. Something's off. Something is just not looking, not looking promising for this universe. If people are upset that much about the finale of House of the Dragon Season 2. And let me be frank, I did not love that much House of the Dragon Season 1. I thought it was pretty good in the beginning, got pretty mid in the mid, and finished pretty strong. But a lot of the mid 3 episodes of season 1 were pretty weak, in my opinion. And then it got better. But it seems like this previous season, from what I could tell from the reaction online, is that it's kind of like up and down, like a roller coaster, and then a low, low, low finale. That's what I can kind of see when I'm looking at it. So I don't know. And then they announced after the finale that there's going to be only 2 more seasons of the show. That they're going to be start shooting season 3, I believe, in early 2025. So they've already confirmed like this show is going to end with 4 seasons. Why would they do that? Was it because of the reception of the ending of season 2? Like, why would they do that? I mean, do you think that this is a good thing or a bad thing? I think that it's a bit of both. One, it's nice to see that they have they have planned an ending. Like, this story and these characters will end with season 4 finale. Like, finishing season 4, it will end. Now, was that a jerk reaction? Was that always planned? Or was that like because they didn't get a good reception with season 2 that they're like, all right, we got to cut this short? Like, I don't know like what truly happened in the decision making and the process of the House of the Dragon, like how long the series is going to be. But it definitely seems like from the timing of the finale of season 2 to the news that there's only going to be 2 more seasons, seems to me like it's part of the reaction and the reception from the finale of season 2 and this decision that that one influenced the other. I don't know. It definitely doesn't. It definitely didn't feel like the show could, because this is like 100 years before Game of Thrones, so there's time. There's a lot of time you could, use, you can explore with this show itself. Like, I wonder what it was that truly made them make that decision. Was it because of the bad reception to the finale, or was it always in the cards? Now, we'll never get that answer, probably. And if we do, it'll be a lie. But I'm going to speculate and kind of like go on a whim here and say, like, it was probably because of the poor reception of the ending of season 2. If I'm being completely honest. I mean, hey, this is nothing new. We've seen things like this in the past. We've seen things like this like happen all the time. Episode 8 comes out, and then episode 8 fails, and in Star Wars, and then they rehire J.J. Abrams. And then they played it off like, well, is it always in the plan to do this? And they're like, yeah, this was always the plan. We always wanted that to happen. Like, no, you didn't. You hired 2 other directors after J.J. Abrams before they even shot their films. You didn't have that planned. So stop saying you did. You're lying. I mean, it to me, it's just, like I've said this before, you can tell when somebody's bullshitting. You can tell. And in this situation, you can kind of tell, right? I mean, at least I can. I don't know about anybody else, but everybody else is either dumb, oblivious, or just blind, or paid off, Continuing on, I've been watching the Olympics. I've been loving the competition. We've been doing pretty well. Sprinting, swimming, all that stuff. Basketball, obviously, really good. But I was watching a couple nights ago. I was watching women's gymnastics. And it was the beam, which is like the bar that they're like balancing on and flipping and all that, tumbling and all that shit on. And I wasn't watching it live because they're not live. I was watching the recap, the evening in Paris, primetime in Paris, which I just, awesome. I love tuning in for that stuff. And I was watching the women's gymnastics, like I said, the balance beam, and it was a bloodbath for those ladies on that balance beam, man. I mean, lady after lady, like 5 ladies in a row, from what they showed, fell off that goddamn beam and got super low scores. Simone Biles, Suni Lee, and some other chicks from other countries all fell off that motherfucker. Fell off it. Slipped, tumbled, lost their balance, whatever it was. They all fell off that thing. Now, it was so awkward and so bizarre that I shit you not, one of the commentators on the balance beam was saying, is there something in the air here? Like, he thought that something was going on. And I did too. I was like, why are all these really talented, really professional gymnasts falling off this fucking balance beam this much? And the scores were so low that you're just like, is this even really a competition? I thought to myself, like, hey, they're like cutting from girl to girl. I know it's not live when I'm watching it. It's like a recap. But I'm sure like they're, editing it and cutting away and all that stuff. But like, are they like repowdering the balance beam so no one slips and falls? I mean, I get it. Like if maybe they just lose balance, it isn't really the powder and the grip of the beam's fault, right? But I do think that it doesn't matter. Like if, how many people go on after one chick after another, like you got to repowder that fucking thing to make sure like every competitor has like the perfect playing surface to perform their routine, correct? I don't know. I just thought that it was so strange that 5 ladies fell off back to back to back to back to back. It really was like something's going on here. It just didn't feel right. It didn't feel right at all. Like I in all my years of watching the Olympics and watching these athletes just be the best at their craft, to see all of them like stumble, wobble, fall, some fall multiple times, others take kind of a harder fall than the other, it was just weird. I couldn't really fathom it, understand it. I'm like, I've never seen this before in my entire life. Why now? That dude might have been right. Something was weird on that night on the balance beam. For sure. And it made such a weird like competition. The scores were just like not competitive. I think some Italian lady won. Italy's never won a medal or a gold medal in balance beam ever. Seemed a little conspiratorial, if I'm being honest. Seemed fishy. And then the night after, I was watching again, and it was skateboarding, which I had remembered, like, skateboarding was going to be an event, and that was cool. I thought that was pretty sick. It was like a routine where these like skateboarders had to do like so many tricks within like a minute of time, and I guess it's kind of like freeing because you don't really have to do specific tricks. From what I saw, you can just do whatever tricks you want, and then they base the score off of that. And I was like, wow, this is such a freeing sport. You can just do like whatever tricks you want, and then you get scored upon that. And it was like the ladies skating, and some chick would do like a crazy move, and others would just do like a lot of basic ones, and then they would just kind of like hope that enough of their basic ones would beat out like the few extreme ones. At least that's what I kind of how I viewed it. It was crazy. And there was a couple freaking competitors that like they didn't even fall like once. Like maybe they fell like at the end, but like they were like perfect, like pretty much. And I was like, how are they even judging any of this? Are they judging it just by difficulty, speed, and That's it. Variety. I don't even know how you would judge skateboarding, to be honest. And they had like 3 runs. Like a 93 was like the highest one that I saw. And then I guess they just take like the best score out of your three runs. And then I saw like one chick had like a 17, and then like an 88, then like a 90. I'm like, wait a minute. So did the first run, like, did she just like fall or what? That's what sucks about watching the Olympics, is that like they'll just like cut the build up and just give you the highlight, like the final round. Which I get it, it's a lot of time, it's time consuming, but still, like, it takes a little bit out of like the how did we get here, from the competition, you know what I'm saying? But it was cool. I mean, we're leading in the medals and gold, and I think medal total as well. So I mean, we're crushing. I mean, we're the best. I mean, there really is no one that can compete with us in terms of like athleticism and sheer dominance in these sports. So that was cool, conspiratorial gymnastics, and then seeing skateboarding, how that's judged. It's some things that that I hadn't seen ever really. Skateboarding, I think, is like just barely in the Olympics, and gymnastics, all those falls, like definitely kind of fishy. Oh, and USA track and field, Gabby Thomas demolishing the 200-meter sprint, and we had I think an American dude winning the 1500 lap, which is I think like a mile or maybe a little bit more than a mile, demolishing in that. No, I think it's less. I don't know. I don't know. But he I think his name was like Cole Hawker, and he just upsetted everybody who was like favorited to win, and he won that, so that was sick. And there's probably a couple more that I'm forgetting, but we're dominating. I'm loving the Olympics. It's a fun time. Last thing I'll talk about before I get out of here is I finally saw Deadpool and Wolverine. Finally saw it, and it's been a long time coming. Not just for me seeing the movie, but, and by the way, I love the movie. I thought the movie was fantastic. I really, really had a fun time. And that's what was a long time coming. A fun Marvel movie. A fun, good, and funny Marvel movie. I mean, Deadpool was never really a character that I really cared too much about. But seeing him with Wolverine and the funny, wacky shit adventure that they go on in this movie was honestly a breath of fresh air for movies and for Marvel movies. Like, this was an actually funny Marvel movie that I laughed at and I was overjoyed with, and straight up just loved the escapism and the fun time that I was having in this movie was just long overdue. Not only was this like a win for me in movie going, and I wouldn't say like my complete restoration in Marvel, because I know what's coming and I don't know if it's going to be as good as Deadpool and Wolverine, but like Marvel needed this movie to be good. And not just be good, but to make money. As I'm looking at this right now, this movie has made $852 million in a little over 2 weeks of being out. It's going to hit $1 billion. And rightfully so. I think that this movie is very rewatchable, very enjoyable, very has a lot of heart, has a lot of spirit, personality, humor, charisma. I just think that it was fantastic. I was expecting it to be a fun movie, a good movie, but not as fun as I had. I mean, that was just a breath of fresh air. Like I said, like They hadn't made a movie that was worth watching in about 2 years. And this one comes along, and I'm like, Marvel, I don't know. You haven't been doing very well in the past, like, everything that you've been putting out. TV shows, movies, they've all been pretty forgettable. Pretty forgettable, actually. But not this one. Not this one at all. And I cannot tell you enough that it was so good to see Marvel make a comedy that was actually funny. I mean, I know Deadpool is one of the funnier characters in the Marvel universe, but this was just like elevated to the top, and I was just like having so much fun with it that I kind of became a Deadpool fan. I'll be honest. I was not a Deadpool fan before. I am now. I really am. Like, this guy is just funny as hell. Wolverine steals the show. I mean, Wolverine is... Hugh Jackman really is the guy for Wolverine. People want to recast Wolverine. People want a different character or different actor, to play Wolverine. I totally disagree. Hugh Jackman is the man when it comes to this character. I mean, everything about it. Like, his cadence while speaking, his seriousness to the character, his just mannerisms, his grittiness, his grunts, his snarl, his yell, everything about it. Like, he is Wolverine for sure. He is Wolverine. And I was a little worried about this movie because, spoiler right here. Right here, spoiler. I thought that they were going to kill him. And I was like, as I was watching this, I'm like, there's no way that they could kill Wolverine. With the reception this movie is getting, with the money it's making, with how good he is still as Wolverine, it would be a tremendous, tremendous mistake if Marvel killed Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, like right now in this movie. They did it in the Fox universe, in Logan, which I loved, which was beloved. But I think that adding Wolverine with his yellow suit and his mask in this movie was like a rejuvenation of superhero films and how good they can be. And hopefully that other movies and studios are seeing how this movie is doing and performing and having the heart that the story has and the characters to back it up. Yes, the cameos in this movie were a lot. I think a lot of them were very deserved, fun, added to the story that, you never would have thought something that needed to be added was added. And just like a breath of fresh air. And just the pure escapism that you get in this movie is, right now, unmatched with anything that's out right now, I think. And, more spoilers right here. Spoiler right now. Chris Evans coming back as the Human Torch. Tremendous. Jennifer Garner as Elektra. Respectful. I've never seen that movie, but you can tell a lot of people back then saw it and were like, what the fuck? Wesley Snipes as Blade. I've never seen Blade. I don't want anybody else playing Blade but this guy. I really don't. Mahershala, I'm sorry, but Wesley is still alive and well. Marvel, you need to do what's right here. Daphne Keane coming back as X-23 or Laura, great. And Channing Tatum as Gambit. The movie does not shy away of the joke that the movie Gambit was, and how it became a meme. A joke, a meme, something that would never happen. Hollywood is not going to do it. Why? Who knows? But Ryan Reynolds made it happen. And it was one of the funniest bits in the entire goddamn movie. Aside from Nice Pool. Holy shit. Nice Pool had me dying. And the dog, oh my God. Papa? Jesus Christ. I was dying in that movie, man. It was incredible. Everything in it was deserved. Everything in it was earned. The characters were phenomenal. The relationship, the friendship between Deadpool and Wolverine has never been felt more, ever. Never been more deserved. Never more earned. Never more respected than in this movie right here. Dude, this movie was sick. This movie was sick. So I do this when I post it on X. I posted my review. I'm here to back it up with what I've said and me explaining it to you. The only real gripe I had with this movie, spoiler alert, was I didn't really care for the Mad Max parody in the movie. It kind of took me out of the movie, if I'm being completely honest. It just was not working for me. That was like my really only gripe with the movie. Everything else I loved. Everything else I loved. The storyline with him wanting to be an Avenger. His adventures he has to go to now. Finding Wolverine, getting him to buy in so they can become friends and a good team, redeeming that Wolverine. I mean, the characters they meet along the way, like I said, Blade, Elektra, Gambit, X-23, all that stuff, all that good stuff. The movie was awesome. It was just awesome. But that, the Mad Max parody being my only real gripe with it. Oh, and Human Torch was sick as well. Human Torch, played by Chris Evans, badass. They almost got me. They thought, they didn't really, because I was spoiled ahead of time, unfortunately. Stupid internet. But you know who it was? It was one of these publications, like a media outlet on X. They posted might have been last Wednesday, I think. It was an article or linking an article with a caption. It was something along the lines of how Chris Evans reprised his role as Johnny Storm. And I'm like, no, I literally was reading that and I was like, ain't no fucking way that a publication actually just spoiled Deadpool Wolverine for me. Shame on you. Shame on you. And then the day before I even saw the movie, my guy Henry Cavill on Instagram straight up posts his a shot of him as a alternate version of Wolverine in the movie. What the hell? I couldn't escape that either. And then a couple more, I think I saw I think they were both on YouTube, on my featured section, just two thumbnail stills of one Wesley Snipes walking in and then as Blade, and then towards the end of the movie with Hugh Jackman with the Wolverine mask on, spoiled 4 times before seeing the fucking movie. I couldn't believe it. One of them by Mr. Cavill, 2 by my YouTube algorithm, and then the last one by a fucking publication putting out an article flat out with a spoiler in the fucking headline. You're out of your mind. Shame on you. But yeah, fantastic movie. Final score. If you follow me on X, which you should, but if you don't, I gave Deadpool and Wolverine a 9.3 out of 10. Go check it out for sure if you haven't seen it yet. And that's going to be it for me today, people. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Remember, you can find this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube at Intelligent Moron with Alex Silva. New episodes drop every Thursday morning. Make sure to like, subscribe, rate, review, and do all that good stuff. And yes, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And I will see you guys next week.